Series is called How Do I Know? And a lot of times when people hear the phrase, how do I know, the next thing they say is what? How do I know what? But the key really isn't to know what, the key is to know why. Because when you know your why, you have options on what your what can be. For instance, my why is to inspire people to walk in purpose. My what is stand-up comedy. My what is writing books. My what can be going out with some friends to eat. In fact, another what that has moved me towards my why is a web series that we have out now called Break Time. So every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, you should subscribe to the channel. We do a series called Break Time on YouTube. So 3 o'clock, we drop a new episode. One episode in particular, I'm about to show you a clip to. We were in Winston-Salem. So Break Time, this is how it works. I travel the country, I do stand-up comedy, probably an hour, hour and a half at an event. And in the middle of my show, I'll just sit down and start talking to the audience. And funny just happens. Or I'll meet somebody who's really interesting. So I met this one guy, and he said that he teaches music at a school. I was like, all right, you teach music, you know, can you sing? And then I'm just gonna show you the clip. Check it. So you're a musical director. Cool.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me get a couple bars of like Amazing Grace. Can you do the first part of that? Go ahead.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
Wow. That bro could sing, you know what I'm saying? All right. Now, what you give me the version is if your uncle just got out of jail, you got shot in the back when you was a kid. I'm just saying, let me see the hood version real quick, if you know which version I'm talking about. Just see if that exists. Let me see what you got.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Right now I'm found, was blind, but now I see.
So here's the thing. The first time I asked him to sing, he knew what he was doing. The second time I asked him to sing, he knew why he was doing it. When you know your why, your what has more impact because you're walking in or towards your purpose.
If we added an entire other church to the churches already established in Rancho, that just means adding 75 more people to all the churches we have, there would still be 82,444 adults going to hell. Forever. Thank you. Even if we added an entire, if we even added 85 more churches in Rancho Cucamonga, the reality is 82,000 people would still be going to hell. And this is just the adults. We're not even talking about the children yet. Are you all with me on this one? I'm explaining all this because this should be stirring us up somewhere. In our hearts, something should be stirring. If it's not stirring, I'm going to have to start asking other questions, like if you know him. Because the whole point of Christianity is to talk about the kingdom. And the whole point of Christianity is to expand the kingdom and share the love, the grace, and the funness of God. It just worked out that way. Okay. Are you guys all with me still? So that means this. Next slide. We would need to add 420 more people to each of the 85 churches in Rancho to hit the 60% of the population being Christian. And the last I checked, 60% is still basically failing. Some of you guys are like, no, Craig, it's a D. That just passed. I get it. Technicality, okay? Still not good enough. Did you guys catch that? Did you hear that? Even if we added 420 more people to this church alone, to all the churches, we would still be missing out on the population. Did that make sense? So if you're walking around and you're wondering, why is the world a bad place? Why do people like lie, steal, steal? Why does all this stuff still happen? It's because we as a church are not getting involved with our community to change anything. We're becoming a holy huddle, sitting in buildings and not doing anything. The definition of insanity is doing the exact same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So if we're going to add another church into Rancho Cucamonga, why in the world would it ever change anything if the churches that are already established can't do it? Are you guys with me on this? Something has to change. I came up with this. We don't need to live. We don't live to the mercy of our circumstances. We have a calling/promise to redeem. God did not promise wars and rumors of wars. He was calling out the circumstances the last days people would be walking into. Why? Because God did not send us to conform to our circumstances or atmosphere, but to affect it. Amen. God sent us into battle. And some of us, we're just chilling. We haven't got up out of the seat and joined the army yet. We haven't got up out of our seat and said, you know what? I do not want my friends, family members going to hell. I don't want this. We have got to raise up and be real. There is a real God. He really created all of this. Now, if you have trouble believing that, that's fine. I can walk that with you. Trust me, I love that stuff. I will walk that with you. But at the end of the day, if you sit here and you call yourself a Christian and you believe this full well and you walk past somebody and you're okay with them going to hell, that is a problem. And we need to fix it. Okay? This is what we want to do. As a church, we want to invest into people. That's it. We want to invest into people. Now, there's a little bit of a problem. Oh, no. Oh, sorry. Threw that out. The next thing is this, because if I invest into people, people will then invest into the next thing, the community. Because people will start to invest into more people. And this spreads it out. But here's the thing. Here's what I want you to understand is we're no longer gunning for a building. Let me explain what it is. Like, what? No, listen. I don't want to get caught in the trap of trying to feed the beast of a building. Instead, I think instead of building a church, we need to spread a church. So how do you influence a city? Well, you take the influences that we know in culture already exist, that people already try to gun for, and why don't we just already invade what they're already doing? Instead of opening the doors of a church for once a week on a Sunday and say, come in and then leave, and then maybe every once in a while have 10 or 15 people show up and unlock the doors for little Bible studies, here's an idea. Why don't we go where the people are? Why don't we take ourselves as Christ's people? Because the church is not a building. The church is what? The people. So let's take the people and put them with people. I just really want to sing Little Mermaid right now. Like, I want to be where the people are. Laughing, singing, dancing to something. I don't know all the words to this song. Yeah, see? But that was gross. But listen. We got to be where the people are. Why in the world do we expect, where in church history did we ever look at the people and say, we're too good to meet with you, you got to come to us? Let's just be real. When Jesus came in, he went to the marketplaces. When Jesus walked on the earth, he went to where the people were. He did not sit in a house and say, all ye come to me. He said, no, I got to go to them. Where did the model ever switch where we can't go to the people? So here's what we want to start doing as a church. Instead of actually just getting one building and say, let's just fill it every Sunday morning, what we're going to do is this. We want to actually we want to spread a church, and this is how we want to do it. We have Church 242 educational programs, House 1023, studio, restaurant, life celebration, sip and paint, dance, and theater. What if all these that you see up there were actually businesses spread out across this entire city? That the doors are open every single day, or let me say 6 days a week, to bring people into the community. Because guess what? They're going to do these things anyways. So why don't we have an influence of what they're doing? Right? Some of you guys are looking up there and go, what's House 1023? Oh, that's very simple. Why don't we have a place where people can meet? Not a church building, a coffee shop, a sandwich place, right? Everybody wants to come and hang out. So why don't see somebody? Yeah. Why don't we do it? Why don't we just have the influence over that and say, you know what? Come over to our house. Come over to our house and hang out. And guess what? Every Sunday at every one of these businesses, we run a church service out of the place. Every Sunday we shut it down. We set up chairs and we say, you know what? Come here. And here's the best part. It's not a satellite place. You want to know why? Because I'm not the only preacher sitting in this place right now. There are people in this room right now that know how to preach, that have a love for people. Why don't we get them to rise up, become the person they were called to be, so that they can go and live this thing out? And what if the church was no longer a building, but it was those people? And then you couldn't stop it. And here's the next thing. You're saying, well, Craig, there's the government of the city. Absolutely. But if I have 5 to 10 businesses in their city, I better believe that we have influence on them. Investing in people, becoming people of influence. The focus will never be the building. It's what you do within that building. Does that make sense? Amen. We want to start building that coffee shop because we need a place where the doors can be open 6 days a week to be able to help and influence the people. Could you imagine what they would do? All the young people, if you will, everybody drinks coffee. That's never going to go out of style. Do you know what I mean? So what if we did that? What if we provided a place where people can come and do their homework and they can come and they can just participate? Here's an idea. Moms, you have little kids. There's going to be a place, an area that you can see, kind of like when you go to any restaurant. Chick-fil-A, that's a good one. Where you just let them run inside that little place. And you can sit there and have a Bible study with everybody else. Why? Because it's a place, it's the house. Where are you going to go? Let's go to the house and just hang out and have a Bible study. But here's what's going to happen every night at the house. Instead of just doing a coffee shop, every night, Monday through Friday, there's a worship team and there's a preacher that preaches every night at 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Why not? Why can't we do that? And here's an idea, not just people that we know. Why don't we give people an opportunity to do the gifts that they have? Get some young pastors up in there and say, preach. And if there's 10 people, there's 10 people. If there's one person, there's one person. But you preach like there's 1,000. And how about this? Worship leaders. There's a ton of you out there. You all have this gift and you want that. How about this? Every night we have a different worship leader and you get to share the songs that are on your heart, not just the songs that make people get up and dance. Did this make sense? That's all that takes place at the house. But let's say this, you have art in your heart. You're like, man, I'm an artist, Craig. Yeah. Why don't we start an art studio where you can teach people how to paint and you can sip your own that you want to sip? And those things are popular right now. But what if we had a studio that did that? And what do? We take art and we actually mix it to Bible verses. And you say, this Bible verse is what we're going to be painting today. We're just going to put an expression to the words on the page. What if we did that? And then on top of that, in the back of that, there's a dance studio. I ain't a dancer, but I know a lot of people that are. Why don't we just have a dance studio back there? And then on top of that, why don't we let's just keep going. Why don't you just have a theater that's back there too? Not an actual stage and stuff like that, but a troupe that gets together and says, how can we do this together? And then get into Hollywood. Get some people behind. And is this making sense? How about this? I love this. This is the idea of a studio. Media. Why don't we get a camera and get an entire studio that just says this? Hey, for a subscription a month, you can come in and use all of our equipment. We have a recording studio for bands. We have an actual sound stage for people that want to do YouTube channels. Okay, and we just get to keep going. And there's a bunch of computers over here if you want to do graphic design. Right? Why don't we do this this is where the world's heading. Why is the church not the influence to that? So this is the heart. Become people of influence. to start investing back into the people, to you.